Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. I'll tell you what, we got another biolab discovered. This one apparently related to the biolab discovered a couple years ago in Northern California. Who's running these biolabs? It looks like the Chinese Communist Party is running these biolabs. The individual who was arrested in California is still in federal custody. That for running that biolab. They had COVID, Ebola samples, all kinds of stuff. Now in Las Vegas, in a home again, they find all kinds of things. This is the video taken inside of these homes from investigators as they went in and seized much of this stuff. And so the Chinese Communist Party, still right here on U.S. soil, willing to do who knows what with these things. They said they found over 1,000 samples, jugs and jars of liquids. They don't know what it is. This is in Las Vegas. And then at the same time, they served another search warrant going back to California, that same house, some associates of the person that is in federal custody. So somewhat of a complicated story, but when you break it down, it's pretty simple. I believe the Chinese Communist Party is running biolabs on U.S. soil to engage in nefarious activity here and, God forbid, infect all of you, all of us, with some kind of unknown foreign agent. We're going to talk about that today. But before we do, this is Cancer Month, folks. And I want to tell you about my friends over at the Wellness Company, twc.health/grant. February is Cancer Prevention Month. Many of you have loved ones that are battling cancer. We need to make sure that no stone is left unturned in the effort to stay healthy. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company has great doctors like Dr. Victory and Dr. McCullough and the next doctor we're about to talk to. The Wellness Company, their doctors, you can trust. And they are committed to providing safe, low-cost alternatives to Big Pharma. Now, when we talk about cancer, this is where ivermectin comes in, methylene blue, and this fantastic new product, Shield, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on in the program. But what I'd like you to do is go to twc.health/grant, use the promo code GRANT for 10% off and start to do some of that research yourself. Great products over at the Wellness Company. We're grateful for their support of this program. Let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I told you this is what we're up against. California, Las Vegas, Nevada, and who knows where else. Unknown agents, biohazards. I told you in California they found Ebola samples, COVID samples. They will still test the thousands of vials they found in this home in Las Vegas. That's being sent to an FBI lab in Bethesda, Maryland to test those things. But this is frightening stuff. So frightening, I thought we should cover it today, and I want to bring in one of the Wellness Company's great doctors, Dr. Alejandro Diaz. He's in charge of pediatric medicine for the Wellness Company. Dr. Diaz, it's great to have you on the program.
Hi, Grant. Thank you so much for having me back on.
Boy, I'll tell you what, this is somewhat frightening stuff. What do you make of what you're reading now about this biolab in Las Vegas?
You know, Grant, since 2001, when the anthrax hysteria, and then after what happened with the SARS-CoV-2 virus that we all know that it was bioterrorism. And, some folks, they have found that through bioterrorism, they can control the masses and they can create this mass formation and they can create hysteria. And unfortunately, that's happening in different parts of the world because it's kind of an easy thing to do, unfortunately, but it can rapidly spread all over through, the air and some other forms. But most than that, it will spread the hysteria and that mass formation and spread fear.
So, Doc, you raise an interesting point about how easy it is to do this. This is in a house. Same situation as the one in California. They had big refrigerators. I think I've got some pictures of some of the things found, these disgusting looking vials. Nothing looks to be done, really in a lab that I would want to be in. But these are some of the things that they found inside this house. I guess I'll ask you, how hard is it to set up a biolab? And then I guess you have to get the, call them ingredients or agents, whatever it might be. How hard is that to get into the country?
Well, unfortunately, for people who are well trained, evil people that they want to destroy families, communities, nations, it's not that hard, unfortunately. And somebody who's well trained, they know how to mess up with the viruses and bacteria and so on and so forth, and they can do a lot of damage.
Let me play you a clip from the investigator who held a news conference yesterday about this, and then I'll let you respond to it.
However, at the Sugar Springs Drive home, our teams went inside and found evidence of possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. Our all-hazard armor team is working hand in hand along with all of the hazmat teams locally, along with the FBI, the fire departments, and all of our state partners to ensure proper recovery and mitigation of these items. This is an extremely complex investigation, obviously involving multiple agencies and a tremendous amount of resources. I want to make sure that those folks that live up there in that northeast area have a clear understanding that the very large first responder presence will likely remain in this neighborhood for several hours and potentially even days. This has to be a slow and methodical process by design. We have to take these situations very seriously, and we take all necessary precautions to keep our personnel and community safe.
I mean, in some respects, that gets into the fear you were talking about. Nobody likes seeing hazmat teams overtaking their neighborhood. How dangerous is it for those hazmat teams, depending on what's inside that house, Doc?
Well, they have all the equipment and all the PPIs and everything to be protected. They know how to do it. We just have to find out exactly what those jugs and those containers and those vials had, and let's see what happens. I think the information will unfold within the next 5 to 10 days. It takes some time to do those tests. I think they sent it to Maryland, one of the biological labs, and we really hope that we have results pretty soon.
Are you surprised that China is being linked to this?
Not at all. After what we found and what we learned for the gain of function research, that it took place in China. I mean, everybody knows that. The whole world knows that it took place in Wuhan, and unfortunately, now we know that it was largely founded by some governmental organizations in the United States. This is public records. Everybody knows that. So it's really hard to understand and to see that this is happening, because biological warfare and bioterrorism can really make a lot of damage.
It's interesting you bring up everything that happened during COVID and with China, and then you look at the Biden administration, and they're enabling what we went through in many respects, with the overreach and the scare tactics and the fear tactics. When this was discovered, and I believe Joe Biden has ties to China, when the lab was discovered in California, the investigation was virtually scuttled. Now, Kevin Kiley is the congressman from that area in California. Yesterday, he took to the floor of Congress to raise the alarm or sound the alarm on what was going on, and let's hope the CDC engages in a much more thorough investigation than it appears they did in California. Listen to this.
At first, the CDC, this was during the Biden administration, refused to investigate, and they even hung up on local officials who asked for help. After Representative Costa got involved, the CDC did an inspection and found at least 20 potentially infectious agents, including HIV, tuberculosis, and the deadliest known form of malaria. Yet, the CDC did not bother to test any samples, even those with unknown contents, making it, quote, impossible for the Select Committee to fully assess the potential risks that this specific facility posed to the community. The Select Committee report calls this baffling. Later, local officials discovered a refrigerator in the lab labeled Ebola. Now, while the supposed purpose of the lab was to sell test kits, in fact, all the company did was buy counterfeit kits from China and resell them in the United States. Thus, the committee found there was a lack of apparent legitimate or even profit-motivated criminal motive in the operation of the facility.
All right, so Doc, that raises the question. Why would the Biden administration, why would Biden's CDC, these are the Fauci years, scuttle an investigation into that, which they had Ebola, at least it looks like they did, inside this house in Northern California?
Grant, that's a tough question, and it's a lot of politics involved. But you don't have to involve politics in health. I mean, health it's a different conversation. This is why I speak all over the world about biopolitics. Biopolitics is that bridge between the society and the political politicians, and this is when it kicks in the biopolitics conversation. But there's a lot of wrongdoing, unfortunately, in different agencies, not only everywhere in the world, unfortunately, and because now they know, since COVID specifically, that they can control huge masses with health or with infections and things along that line.
Sorry, I was coughing. I had my button pushed. Do you think that the Trump administration now has the CDC or the FDA under control? Do you think we're on the right track, or is the deep state still in control of these agencies?
My humble and personal opinion, I really think that President Trump is doing a phenomenal job at first appointing Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and then Robert F. K. Jr., he appointed other amazing team members like Dr. Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Dr. Macri, and so on and so forth. So I think they are creating I want to say like a dream team when it comes to health and public health. So I really think we are on the right track. Yes, there are some other things that they have to be taken into account, and this is not one size fits all. But I think we are on the right track.
Well, that is most certainly good news to me. I will say this news about Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General, firing Ed Martin, who was overseeing the weaponization division of the Department of Justice. You would think with everything going on that we would get to the bottom of the weaponization of government, and yet Blanche, who was a Democrat up till 2024, somehow at the top level inside DOJ, how Pam Bondi allows this, how President Trump allows this. This directly goes against his order to get to the bottom of the weaponization of government. I think the CDC was weaponized against the people, clearly. There was that investigation. And then Ed Martin, the deep state sunk his nomination to be the federal prosecutor in D.C., and now they oust him. So to me, we still have a long way to go. I'm with you that some of the leaders are great, but I don't know about the workers inside some of these agencies. That we got deep staters that are all over the place. All right, Doc, I want to ask you about this new product, Shield. So the wellness company for Cancer Month, February is Cancer Prevention Month. The wellness company was on the forefront of selling ivermectin to the masses, to people who wanted when nobody else would. You could still get ivermectin at the wellness company. Ivermectin comes inside this kit and many others. Every family should have this, twc.health/grant. But they also have this new product now called Shield, Doc. Can you tell me what Shield is?
Sure, Grant. So Shield, it's a new product that it was compounded by our incredible Dr. Kelly Victory from the Wellness Company, as she went through a personal story of cancer herself, and being a well-respected and world-known doctor physician, she, with the Wellness Company, compounded this amazing product that it's a basically two-step system that we have the gels, the gel capsules, and the cocoa drink mix. That it's basically natural products to detox the cells, decrease inflammation, decrease oxidation, and just restore general cell health, basically. And it's a wonderful product. It's starting to get a lot of traction in the community, and it's doing fantastic.
Well, I would urge people out there to go there, try Shield, twc.health/grant. You can use the promo code GRANT for 10% off, and then peruse all of the other products that the Wellness Company has there. That's twc.health/grant. Use that promo code GRANT. So we talked about these biolabs out in California. Now this latest one in Las Vegas. Another story out of California is a tuberculosis outbreak in a Catholic school in San Francisco. 50 cases of latent tuberculosis, 3 active cases. They have canceled in-person schools, and as this progresses, they're going to test everybody before they come back to school. Now, where is this tuberculosis coming from? My assumption is this is coming from illegal aliens that are coming into the country, foreigners, and bringing foreign diseases into America. This is not just me. Experts are pointing to this as well. The mainstream media doesn't want to tell you about that because it goes against their narrative. But I'd like to get Dr. Alejandro Diaz's opinion on all of this. Dr. Diaz, what do you think? Tuberculosis, Northern California, do you think the immigration problem had anything to do with this?
Tuberculosis has been a huge issue or a huge potential problem with the immigration community, both legal and illegal. 50 years ago, the United States started a program with Mexico, because obviously it was the largest exporter of migrants, and they started screening for specifically pulmonary tuberculosis. That program, that it's called the panel physician program, expanded it virtually to all over the world. Now there are 730 panel physicians throughout the world, and they screen for all legal immigrants coming from all over the world to the United States, and specifically, among other diseases, obviously, including STDs, they focused a lot in pulmonary tuberculosis, from latent tuberculosis infection to active tuberculosis infection. So that's one part. The other part is the illegal immigration. As everybody knows, from 2018, approximate to 1.5 year ago, there were approximately from 15 to 17 million illegal crossings from the southern border of the United States coming from Mexico to the United States. So the potential burden of tuberculosis in the illegal immigration community, definitely it's a high risk. And as we know, California, it's a huge state that accepts a lot of migrants. So that's one end of the story. Another side of the token that probably no one is talking about is that, as an immunologist, I know for a fact that many people, if not all the people who took those terrible jabs of the so-called COVID vaccines, their immune system got weakened. There's no question about it. We know that. And tuberculosis, from latent tuberculosis to active tuberculosis, it just needs a slowdown of your immune system, and you can activate that latent tuberculosis
Wow.
that probably has been there for years. But now, with that weakened immune system, we can have those activation of latent tuberculosis. So it's important to take that into account.
Well, that makes a lot of sense why there's been somewhat of a delay then if we're seeing more tuberculosis cases and outbreaks. California seems to be the worst of it. I think it's no coincidence that because they accepted so many of the illegal immigrants there, they have a rate of about 5.4 cases per 100,000 people. It's not a lot of cases, but it's more than the average around the country. And so I think last year they had 4 outbreaks of 4 or more people, which, again, you're not talking about a lot of people for a state with millions and millions, but it is frightening because it can spread pretty quickly, can it not?
Tuberculosis, specifically active pulmonary tuberculosis, it's a highly contagious disease because it can be spread through airborne spreading. So we really, when there's an outbreak, we really have to pay a lot of attention to understand the perimeter of the problem, the contact case, the first case, and to start treatment immediately, not only with the active tuberculosis, but also with the LTBIs that we found on specific regions. That's a matter of public health.
Is it treatable?
It is. Oh yeah, LTBI, it's very, very treatable. And when we get to active, which are two different versions. Active tuberculosis, pulmonary tuberculosis infection, it has different spectrums or different layers. You get your regular tuberculosis bacteria, which is sensitive to all anti-tuberculosis drugs, and then you get some resistance, like multi-drug resistant bug, to high drug resistance. That's the bug that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah. Scary stuff. So the school wants to test everybody. And then I just always get queasy when I think about starting to do these mass tests. But is that a good idea?
From the public health standpoint, that's a good idea. There are 2 main ways to test for tuberculosis, like from the lab standpoint. There are many ways, but 2 main. Skin test, which is the PPD, and then the other one, it's more sophisticated, that is the IGRA test, interferon gamma release assay, which is very accurate specifically for latent tuberculosis infection. Obviously, you have to do some chest x-rays, and you have to ask for symptoms: chills, fever, they lose weight, they night sweats, and things along that line. Yeah. But it's really interesting to study the cases of pulmonary tuberculosis, and I can tell you that, Grant, there's not enough doctors in the United States with enough experience to catch tuberculosis at an early stages. It's very tricky.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe because we just haven't had so many cases here, they're not looking for it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. All right, I want to ask you about cancer. It is Cancer Awareness Month, February. Every month's got some kind of awareness. I don't always put a lot of stock in these months. I just, think some of them are ridiculous in their marketing ploys. But cancer is a huge problem. I think the government has made it worse. I think Big Pharma wants to basically let cancer keep kicking it on down the road since they make billions of dollars every year treating cancer rather than curing cancer. But you think about the COVID shots, you think about the turbo cancers that we're now seeing. Where are we as a nation? Doc, I know this is a pretty wide open question, but where are we as a nation when it comes to cancer? What's your overall assessment?
Grant, let's go by the numbers, so our audience can have a better perspective. So, big pharma, the yearly spend on treatment and diagnosis for cancer each year in the United States, it's $210 billion. $210 billion. The average amount of money out of pocket or the cost per patient, it's between $45,000 and $62,000 a year for the treatment. And unfortunately, and these are crazy numbers and devastating numbers for public health services, it is estimated that in the United States, each year, 2 million cases of cancer in America are detected every year. That's a huge number. That's one side of the token. On another side of the token, and you said it right, turbo cancers, after the rollout of the so-called vaccines that I call it, as you know, toxic injectable products of experimentation. That's exactly what they are, because they weren't vaccines. As an immunologist, vaccinologist, I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. The immune system of those individuals, unfortunately, who took those jabs, have been severely disconfigured, severely weakened. And there's unfortunately the chance that some of those individuals can develop cancer. I was very shocked listening to the CEO of Pfizer, Albert Bourla, who is a veterinarian. Go figure that. And he said that they acquired 3 years ago a large biotechnology company for oncology treatment and diagnosis, because they know that 1 in every 3 people in the world will develop cancer. My first question will be, how did he know that? That's my first question. And they were able to pay $43 billion to acquire this new company for the diagnosis and treatment of cancer. Do you know the numbers? If we say that we are 8.1 billion people in the world, 1 in 3, that means at least 2.7 billion people. It's close to 3 billion people. Just to put it in perspective, Grant, those are the people that potentially in the next 5 to 10 years will develop cancer. That was in the voice of Albert Bourla, Pfizer CEO of Pfizer. That is the total population of India and China combined. Wow. In other perspective, that is the total population of Africa, Europe, and North America. How can we deal with all those increased and incredible numbers of cancer patients? I mean, that is worse than any pandemic. That is worse than any war in the history of mankind. And he just said it like that, like a walk in a park.
Wow.
And, we have been distracted, man.
So it clearly gets back to he's looking at treating these people to make billions of. They don't want the cure, do they?
Well, unfortunately, is where the money is. The money is in the treatment. But why not, whoever they are, why they are not focusing in prevention when you can prevent the development of cancer? Why they don't do more research in preventing cancer rather than wait until the patient gets the cancer, go and get the treatment? It's horrible. I mean, everybody who has gone through that journey, it's a horrible disease. Most of them, unfortunately, will die.
This is why I think they hate the wellness company, because, you've offered up ivermectin. A lot of people are taking ivermectin now as a preventative to cancer, and there seems to be some real indications that works. You've got this new product, Shield, from Dr. Victory, that's a preventative measure, long term, to build your body up to fight cancer off like this. These are all going to take money out of the pocket of big pharma, and so I would urge people. Let me put the web address up there: twc.health/grant. That's twc.health/grant. use the promo code Grant for 10% off. And then, Doc, before I let you go, I saw this on your X page, your Twitter page. This is a doctor by the name of Stanley Plotkin. It was a deposition he was giving in 2018 about vaccinations. I did not know they use fetus material, harvested, aborted fetuses in many of the vaccines. I'm going to play you about a minute of this and then just get you to respond to this and why this should be important for people to know. And I think even more, the end of this guy's comments basically tell you everything you know. I don't think a guy like this should be in medicine, quite frankly. I know you are a very religious guy, Doc, so I know this has got to probably send you through the roof when you hear this, man, but take a listen.
Studies did you have that you used aborted fetuses for?
Oh, I don't remember how many.
You're aware? Are you aware that one of the objections to vaccination by the plaintiff in this case is the inclusion of aborted fetal tissue in the development of vaccines and the fact that it's actually part of the ingredients of vaccines?
Yeah, I'm aware of those objections. The Catholic Church has actually issued a document on that which says that individuals who need the vaccines should receive the vaccines regardless of the fact, and that I think it implies that I am the individual who will go to hell because of the use of aborted tissues, which I am glad to do.
Okay. Do you know if the mother is Catholic?
I have no idea.
Okay. Do you take issue with religious beliefs?
Yes.
Okay. You have said that, quote, vaccination is always under attack by religious zealots who believe that the will of God includes death and disease?
Yes.
You stand by that statement?
I absolutely do.
Okay. Are you an atheist?
Yes.
Doc, I don't know. I really think there's no place for atheism in medicine.
I mean, we're looking at one of the world's, Dr. Plotkin, one of the world's leading authorities when it comes to development and research of vaccines. And he's, I mean, bluntly accepting all this craziness about all this tissues, tongue, liver, spleen, lung, from fetuses, from viable fetuses, plus so many other components. And one of the things that it really gets to my mind and my heart and my soul is that unfortunately medical students all over the world, we have been indoctrinated since day one. They will never tell you that. They will teach you only to treat the disease. They will never talk about prevention of any sort, of any kind. It's a disease-based approach, not prevention, unfortunately, because it's where the money is.
Are there material from fetuses in the vaccine, or is it just used to test the vaccine?
There are. I haven't seen them, and I've been a doctor for 35 years. I haven't seen it with my eyes, my naked eyes, but I'm an immunologist, and I understand the immune process of preventing, developing, and treating diseases. I haven't seen them, but there's a lot of data everywhere that not only fetuses and organs and tissues, but also aluminum and so many other heavy metals and so many other toxic materials. I mean, just look at the rates of autism. When you and I, Grant, we're the same age. When you and I were growing up, I didn't know anybody with autism.
No.
Now they can name, many in their class room.
It's a total
Among
shame
many other things.
when it comes to that. And lastly, I'm just going to ask you from a personal perspective. I know you're a religious guy. When you hear a doctor say he doesn't believe in God, he doesn't like the idea of religion, I'm sure you treat children in particular. You probably have parents praying for those children. I would imagine you would welcome prayers along with whatever treatment you can give the child, correct?
100%. 100%. As a matter of fact, many times, if not all the time, when I am examining a kid with the family and everything, I ask for permission for prayer to pray there
Well, this
because
is
I have
why
a personal relationship with God.
This is why we love the doctors at the Wellness Company. Dr. Alejandro Diaz, you're a great guy, and I appreciate you coming on the program as always. Wide range of topics today. Thank you, sir. As always, where can people find you if they want to reach out?
On X platform at Alejandro Diaz MD.
All right, sounds good.
And
Doc,
also my Substack, Biopolitics with a K.
all right, Biopolitics with a K. Thank you, Doc. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Grant.
Absolutely. All right, folks, and let me remind you, that new product Shield is out. Go check that out. Build your body up to fight off all of these things, including cancer. It's great. Ivermectin from the Wellness Company, Cancer Prevention Month. All of these things are really doing amazing things, and the Wellness Company is right there on the forefront of keeping you healthy. That's what Make America Healthy Again movement is all about, the MAHA movement. Wellness Company is right there. TWC.health/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. Stinchfield's Army rolls. We will see you tonight on the Real America's Voice show. I know I made brief mention of it, about Ed Martin being fired from the weaponization of government division inside the DOJ. What in the world is going on there? We are going to break that down tonight. I think that's a very, very big story, and we'll be talking about that on the RAV show as Lieutenant Colonel Ivan Raiklin will join us. He is my Secretary of Retribution. Stinchfield's Army rolls because of all of you. Thanks to the Wellness Company. We'll see you tonight.